artist study. I'm going to include them. Oh, no, I'm going to do separate pages because I might have lots of thoughts. Okay, and now this here is why I like to do my overall plan before I do this step. So if we look back at my overall plan, they're kind of weird terms, but theoretically there's 5 main terms plus a holiday term. Term 1 is very short. Terms 2 and 5 are going to be busy with some other things as well. So just a note. I'm thinking we probably won't do an artist or composer in this July term. It's just July. We're just going to be getting started. But we probably will, even though we'll be busy. I really like doing artist and composer, and it doesn't take a lot of time. So we probably will do one term 2, term 3, term 4, and term 5. So that would be 4 each during the year. And the holiday term, I have some thoughts. We might either focus on the Messiah or the Nutcracker, or I might just do a little bit on each. And we're looking at Middle Ages. So I think I had noted that I wanted to learn a little bit more about monastic music. Okay. I'm just all over the place right now. I'm going to write down some thoughts. My first thought on composer, I'm going to be jumping back and forth between these two and hopefully not confuse you too much, because this is just what my brain's doing, is we've done this person before, but it's been a couple years, and it's a woman who was a nun, and she was, oh goodness, she was so many things. She was basically she was a composer, but she was a scientist and a writer. She was just a fantastic person. Her name was Hildegard von Bingen, and I actually already have some resources for her because we learned about her a little bit when, oh geez, my son was probably a baby. But I was looking for some more female composers, and she popped up. And I also read a book on her, and I think it was from the library. I might see if I can find that book again, because it's for adults, not for kids, but it was so good. Yes, okay. Hildegard von Bingen. Well, I'm looking at my computer a bit while I'm doing this, and I don't think it's recording. But artist, we wanted to do Giotto. And I can also, oh, here we go. There it is. All right, so I have noted there we wanted to do Giotto. I'm just looking to see if I had noted other, there's just lots of ideas for if we're getting into the Italian Renaissance, right? There's Michelangelo, which apparently I can't spell. Michelangelo. There's Leonardo da Vinci, who we've also done. I will, I have a video actually on what we did for our artist study of Leonardo da Vinci, so I will link that here. But we'll go over him. We'll cover Leonardo da Vinci again. I have other places where I could have noted some stuff, so let me go back here to Pinterest. I have this board for artist study, and I have here, somebody had done a post about doing a picture study for the Yuan dynasty, and I really like that idea, so I note that down. Giotto I already have. I'm not sure when Peter Bruegel the Elder is. Got Michelangelo. So this page is just ideas for artist study, and they're not organized by time period or place at all. It's a mix in here. And some of these a lot of this is people I was kind of just doing some favorites and ones I wanted to explore with the kids when they were younger before we started history, but now I'm wanting to tie it in to history. And so another smart way to do this, honestly, would be to go back and look at this artistic pursuits and see who they're covering. So let's start with the Middle Ages. It doesn't seem to be as many specific artists. It seems to be more, just medieval art. And then here, let's see who they're covering in here. Chimabue, which might be another. I'm just going to make a list here. And obviously, we're going to need to choose. If I really want to do more, which may happen because it's the Renaissance, I might be able to squeeze 2 into a term. But I don't think I would do that every term, and that would be an 8 at the most. So I'm just going to write down all of these artists, and then I'm going to have to go through and choose between them later. And honestly, some of that will be who I can find more resources on. How can I get, a variety in here? So we've got a list of those, and those are all European men and probably Italian. So I may do some more research and see if I can find some other. Artemisia Gentileschi. And there is a fantastic book. Again, I may be spelling this wrong. Gentileschi. I'm probably spelling that wrong. There's a fantastic book, The Passion of Artemisia, that is not kid appropriate. That is, I read a long time ago and I loved it, and I will probably read that again. So I'm just going to just make some stars here because, I think there might have to be. And also there's Donatello, who did sculptures. And who is it that did, there's the person that did fountains in Rome. I think we're going to end up having to do more than 4. just from looking at this. So I'll make that work. It might just be an artist heavy year, to be honest. And I'm also gonna, I don't know exactly where to put this, but it probably more so under history, to be honest. But we're gonna learn more about Shakespeare. Let me go back to history while I'm thinking about it. Diane Stanley, coincidentally, also has a wonderful book about Shakespeare that I have already. Okay, and more about Shakespeare himself. Okay, so artist study composers. Let's go back. Let me look at the classical page about the person who I believe was a monk, whose name I can't remember, who first wrote down musical notes, because that would be a good one to do as well. All right, well, I'm just going to quickly Google search here for medieval music and see what pops up. Oh, look, some artists here for me to look at to see. Hildegard pops up. So people to look up. I don't think any of those people were the ones who did the notation, but all right. Guillaume de Mach. I don't know where this person's from and how to pronounce that. But these are, again, all ones just for me to look into. No. Before I get another resource from outside this room right now, let me go look at SQUILT. I don't think they have anything for medieval times, but SQUILT is another wonderful resource for music and for composer and song studies, I guess. Let me come to eras and just see, when does Baroque start, I guess, is kind of a question here. So you can get all the bundles together. There's 4 volumes: Baroque era, Classical era, Romantic era, and Modern era. Let's see if she gives me a timeline here. Because I bought the SQUILT composer study for Dvorak, and I really enjoyed using it. It was really well made. Okay. So this covers the years 1600 to 1750. So this is really just after what I'm looking for this year. So this would be great to do next year, probably maybe in conjunction with classical as well. But I am not going to get this one for this year. So let me pause and go get one more resource from the other room. I did think of one more place online that I should be looking, and that is on Amazon. I actually have a bunch of wish lists that are organized, and I save ideas on here as well. And saving here does not mean I'm going to order it from Amazon. I often look like thrift books and local bookstores, but to put that out there. And I obviously don't get everything on my wish list, but I do have some ideas in here, and so I just wanted to look over and see if I had any specifically for this year. And so I have, right now I'm looking at my wish list for art and music. It's a whole lot of stuff. I mean, it's artist study, composer study, art, and music. So there's art supplies in here. There's a lot of random stuff, and I've been adding to this for a while. Okay. There's jazz books in here. Oh, Katie and the Mona Lisa. That's a good resource for that one. Okay. Here we go. Do, re, mi. If you can read music, think Guido d'Arezzo. So that's the person I was thinking of, and the specific book I was thinking of. So I'm gonna write that down. Me is spelled M-I, silly one. So I don't think. Oh, that's an Italian, Artemisia vuole dipingere, about Artemisia Gentileschi, so I'll have to look up at that one. Let's see. I'm just going to scan through here to see if there's anything else that jumps out at me as being really good for this year. I mean, I see resources for like Leonardo and artists I've already written down, and I'm not going to get into that at this moment today. I'm just trying to come up with the ideas for the specific artists that we will be covering. And I may have enough at this point. I've got a bunch written down, but I think that's where I am there. And let me also look. I also have a bunch of different, obviously I have a bunch of different lists here. So I'm also going to look at my medieval and Renaissance list here. Oh yeah, I was looking at all the royal diaries because my daughter and I really like the American Girl series here, and so I was trying to figure out if there was like a equivalent. And I vaguely remembered the Royal Diary series from when I was a girl. Okay, tons of resources on here for history that I'm going to have to look through and sort through, and I'm going to try to get less this year. It's so hard for me. I want all the books and resources, but I tend to overwhelm myself a little bit. I'm also just going to click on this general history tab here because sometimes there's just really good stuff in here. Like a journey through time in verse and rhyme might be a good addition. Also just seeing if there's any, I don't think there's going to be anything on artists and composers here. So a couple actual physical resources. So I have the Usborne, a famous composer's reference book, the Usborne classical music book. I also have this Kingfisher Young People's Book of Music, and I don't know if there's any composers in here, but I'm just going to take a quick look. Oh, this goes through like different areas, so that might be cool. And there's a page on the Middle Ages. I'm looking at this point. Yeah, I'm just looking for some composers specifically to study, but if I can't find as many specific composers as I want, then we could always do like more of a, we could do something on like monastic music in general. Let me move these ones aside so I can make notes. I think I had already written Guillaume de Machat. He's mentioned in here as well, as is Guido d'Arezzo, who invented staff notation. The Renaissance, because we're stopping around 1600. So let's see if there's anybody mentioned in here specifically. I don't actually, even though I love the Renaissance, I know a lot more about the art of the Renaissance than the music. So this is really interesting. Apparently, Guillaume Dufay, who I believe is already on my list, and also, what does it say? I'm just gonna, again, we're not doing all of these, but I should make sure to have it spread out so there's at least one medieval and at least one Renaissance, to try to have a variety, more of a variety. Okay, so I think the next page is going to be yeah, that's when the Baroque period starts. So I don't want to go that far. Great composers. I don't think there's going to be any that are pre-1600, but I will take a look just in case. And that might be the case of other books too. Oh, it's not by time period. It's alphabetical. So I'm just going to skim and see if, William Byrd, interesting. He overlaps. He was born in 1543 and died in 1623 in England, but I'm going to mark him here to take a look at. I'll show you as I go. I wrote, yeah, this one I already wrote down here. Josquin Desprez was French. Let's see. I don't know if you can see all the way over there. Hildegard Bingen I have already. I already have that one. Okay, so it looks like Claudio Monteverdi. I've heard of him before. He again was born in 1567, died 1643. So he might be something we cover the following year, but we could look at some medieval instruments. Because they didn't have most of the instruments that we have today weren't invented yet. All right, I think that's it for this book, but that was the Kingfisher Young People's Book of Music. And then I'm going to just take a look. This one doesn't have as many composers in it, but it might mention some things from medieval times. I know it has pages for the different, so writing music down. Yeah. Gregorian chant. Oh, Gregorian chant. Let's just make a note of that. Gregorius was an Italian monk in the 6th century, who became Pope Gregory the First. That is okay. That's good to know. Gregorian chant. Okay, so that was another good note. I just talked about Bach, who was later. Okay, I think, yeah. Oh, I think we're just going to look at this one more here. This is the Famous Composer's Reference Book. And, oh, it does have some information on here. And these were ones I already have written down. So that tells me that I need to look into them more. A question is going to be is how much information and resources can I find on them? Oh, okay. There's more here. I already wrote down William Byrd, but there's Thomas Tallis. Thomas Tallis wasn't on here before. And Giovanni. Okay, I'm not writing the whole thing out. De Palestrina. And there's also Orlando de Lassus. So these look like some later, like Renaissance composers. So this one has it. Most of it is pages for specific composers. So here's the first one on Claudio Monteverdi. And then there's generally just like 1 or 2 pages for each composer here. So you can see, and these are all going to be later composers. So I think I'm kind of happy with where my list is right now. More research needs to be done, but I'm coming up with some good ideas there. Now, I know I already have this long list for artist study, but I did, while I was getting my music books, pull out this book, which is Vincent Starry Night and Other Stories, A Children's History of Art. And I thought I could pull this out to see if I can find some ideas to make a better variety, I guess. And so this book has stories. It's like a short story on various artists, and also just some of them are types of art or areas. I don't exactly know how to describe it. So they had some ancient ones here. I haven't used it this year, and I'm not really sure why I have not. So I might pull this out and read some of these to the kids. But here, this is, what is this? This is 800, and I don't even know, this is 20 BC. So I think this might be I don't know if this is 800 AD or BC, but a 425. And then, so here, and some of these are some ideas of, there's some ideas of people we might want to look at. Ibn al-Bawab, calligrapher. So let me write that down. Giotto, I've already written down. We'll find out more about Andrei Rublev. Let's see. Donatello, I wrote down. Van Eyck. There's a story in here about the Aztecs. So that might be something we end up doing a unit on, so I could incorporate it there. Michelangelo, Raphael, Titian. I'll write this down here. I'm going to question mark Peter Bruegel. King of Cheetahs, so I'll have to look that one up as well. Bazawan and Dharmdas. Those sound familiar. Caravaggio, I feel like, is a little bit later. I'm gonna stop there with my list because I feel like some of these get later. Well, that took a while, the artist and composer, but I feel like we've made some progress here. So we're down to practical life activities, PE, and health. All right. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not 100% sure. So PE is basically, I'm supposed to keep my kids moving and just not let them sit inside all day and do nothing. So that seems reasonable. I'm going to do 2 columns here. I'm going to do PE on this side, and I'm going to do health on this side. Now, I'm going to have to look into, we are doing biology, which includes human anatomy, for science. So can I count that as health? We're not doing, like, middle school health as you would think of it here. I mean, I suppose I could go into and tell them that drugs are bad. I don't know if it's a full health plan, but let me make a note. Does science count? Drugs are bad. Also, we could do some things on why we brush our teeth. Yeah. We've done a little bit of nutrition before. So I don't know. I'm going to think about that. It doesn't need to be a lot, to be honest. This year we're doing the Good and the Beautiful Safety Unit. And there's a couple chapters or lessons, I guess, we're not getting to. So I could do those, but I didn't get to them because I felt like my kids were a little young for them, to be honest. I'm not leaving them home alone. So, and they don't have access to the internet. So I don't, on their own, they can't. So those I kind of want to save for when we address that. All right, for PE, I usually do the same thing, which is hiking, bike riding, and yoga. And so then I just take, it's like 2 pictures that I insert in her portfolio. And health is the same way. If I do one thing each term, it's fine. It doesn't need to be a lot. Again, I could do once or twice a year and be fine, be covered. I don't know what's going to happen with swim lessons this year. We really enjoyed, the kids really enjoyed them last year, and they wanted to do more this year. I was going to send them up for 2 sessions instead of 1. and we were going to try to go at least once a week to the pool to practice swimming with them. But now that's all up in the air, and I also don't know what's going on with horseback for my daughter. So that's a bummer. But if I put these things down, we can do that. I don't know if there's something else. I mean, we're home, so I could probably find some things online that they could do if they wanted to do like dance or something like that. We can play baseball in the yard. Also, my son was going to do t-ball this year, and I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen at this point. It was supposed to happen basically throughout the month of May. So I'm waiting to hear something from them, but I'm fairly confident it's not going to happen. Anyway, that's just bumming me out. Let's do let's move on from those two things. And it was practical life activities. Oh dear. Okay. I mean, kind of partially otherwise known as chores. I think I'm also going to include this in their individual ones. All right, let's just get to individual stuff with them. Let's start with my second grader. For my daughter, her individual subjects are math, handwriting / copywork. This includes grammar at this point. I'm not adding in a separate grammar curriculum. And reading, which I'm going to separate here, even though they're connected. And let's see. Handwork, music, practical life activities. All right. Handwork, music, practical life / chores. And I wanted to extra science, so I'm going to just put a note here with a question mark. Okay, so that's where we are. All right, let me just fill in what's easy, and then there might be some things I need to think about and come back to. So for math, we're kind of continuing on with my Charlotte Mason Montessori math plan. And I'm also using Math Mammoth just to make sure, for two things. One, I am using it kind of like a scope and sequence to make sure I'm hitting subjects I'm supposed to hit. And then I kind of use it as review because we do most of our work, orally. And then I do have her write stuff down in the math notebook. But I'm presenting her lessons instead of just having her work through a book. And so I use some of not the whole thing, but some of the pages from Math Mammoth as kind of review worksheets for her. And also just they double as samples for her portfolio. So that's what we do. And I currently have both grade 1 and grade 2 levels that I downloaded. So I'm going to keep working through that for right now. I'll put a note like, do I need grade 3? And I don't think I do at this point, but it might be something to assess in the fall. Okay. Handwriting, copywork. We're going to continue with quiver and / arrows. So basically Brave Writer. And we should also do more. I haven't gotten to the jot it down projects that I want to get to. So I think I'm going to try to incorporate maybe just 1 or 2 this year instead of trying to do 1 every 2 months, which was my goal this year that I did not get to. Okay, and then this is kind of connected, but we're going to do Logic of English Foundations. We're going to continue. Let me just do my shorthand LOE foundations. So she is very, very close to done with B. So we're going to need C I'm going to say C and D here. So unfortunately with the pandemic, the warehouse for Logic of English is currently closed, so they're not shipping out their curriculum right now, which is really too bad, just because, I mean, I totally understand they're not at fault at all. And the wonderful staff there has been doing things online, but I know there could be families out there who could really use it. So I'm hoping that things will get under control soon and they'll be able to slowly start opening up businesses, and maybe they can open up. So, but I am fine. We're fine waiting. We want everybody to stay safe and healthy. So that's obviously more important. But when it does reopen, I'll probably order both C and D, and I will probably also order the extra workbook for my son. He's doing A right now, but I'll probably order the B workbook just in case. But in the meantime, we have a ton of early readers, so we can just practice reading. Not a problem at all. I do want to work my way with her through C and D, though. Those foundation just goes A through D, because I do feel like it's giving her good tools to continue reading at a higher level. So that's what I look at it as, is it's like adding to her toolbox. Handwork. She's already in the middle of several projects, so I'm just going to go with work on current projects. And then once those are finished, I can talk to her about what she might want to work on. Currently, she has started a quilt. She got a loom for Christmas that she's got something working on there, like a lap loom. And she's got finger knitting happening. She's actually trying it's not finger knitting, it's technically it's like a knitting fork that she's doing. She's trying to finish up the ball of yarn she has on that, and she's going to turn that kind of long string into a rug, like twist it up like that. Did a lip pen, like that, as a rug for her little sister for her sister's birthday. So that's really sweet. I might make a note here, holiday presents, because if you saw, what video was it? I think it was me organizing my 2020 life planner. My goal for this holiday is to have a handmade holiday and make as many presents as we can. And so I'll be working with both the kids on that. So we're going to start thinking about that on the early side. Music. She's going to take, I'm assuming it's piano lessons. I have told her she has the option to switch instruments if she wants. I really like the music school we've been working with. I really like her music teacher. She was really excited in the beginning, and to be honest, she has improved so much, and she does enjoy playing around on the piano. Now she has more ability to, but she hates to practice, so she's been giving me a lot of grief about that. But for me, I think it's important. I just think music lessons and learning to play an instrument are important. For me, for my children, it's something I just think I'm requiring my children to do, and I've decided I'm not going to require them to do it, forever. But during first, second, and third grade, I'm going to require them to take lessons, and they can choose their instrument. And if they want to switch instruments, that's fine. And then if they want to continue after third grade, that is something we can discuss as well. I would love it if they would want to continue playing an instrument, but I'm not going to force them after that time. So again, she hates practicing, and I have told her she can switch instruments, but for right now, she seems to be doing really well on the piano and is learning quite a bit. So I'm going to plan on continuing that. And she's also learning in her music classes how to read music through her piano lessons, and I think that's just fantastic. So yes, that is her music. Practical life and chores. Now, every single year I say I'm going to make practical life binders. I wasn't calling them, what was I calling them? Life skills binders. And I still haven't. Oh my, and I'm sure I've told you I'm doing that before too, and I just haven't gotten to it over and over and over again. It just I haven't sat down and done it. So I really want to do that, and come up with like some sort of list of life skills I would like her to have. She does occasional radish kit. We still get that for her. And so she does that. But I kind of just want to be more systematic about making sure she's got life skills. So And she has gotten much better about picking up her room, I must say. But yeah, I'll think more about that. And I will also think more about the extra science and what that might be. I think she has her own science notebook. So I might just let it be more, like put something specifically science in your science notebook, but not requiring it to be something specifically that I choose. Like leave it open to her what she chooses. So now we're on my son. And why am I using a different size? I don't know. Okay. And he is doing kindergarten. Oh my goodness. Kindergarten. Okay. Again, kindergarten is hard to spell. Okay. Let's see. So we've got also math. Math. Writing. Reading. Handwork. He hasn't really been doing handwork yet, so we'll want to start on that. Music. Practical life. One I might add for him here, just that I want to think about, is emotions. Where he's at an age or a phase now where he's got a lot of big emotions and he's not sure what to do with them. So I just, part of homeschooling is I'm schooling and I'm parenting. So that's something that I just want to think about. Okay, for math. So he has finished, we are reviewing now the Montessori numbers sequence, but he's got a really solid grasp on that. And he's actually already started with some simple addition and subtraction. But I think I'm going to go back to the beginning of the Charlotte Mason math with him and get him his own math notebook. So I'm going to make a note, and I'm probably going to start that before July, to be honest. We'll probably start that earlier. These skills are not necessarily something where we get this done in 1 year and this done in this year. And it's like a fluid, we move with them where they are in their skills. So I'm just kind of making a note where I think we are now, where I think we're going to want to get to over the next year, and resources that I'm thinking of for that. So math notebook, continue with the Montessori and Charlotte Mason math. And I have everything I need for that. Okay, for writing, so he is also doing Logic of English. He is in Foundation A right now. And this is basically the same thing. We're doing reading and writing both for that. And then we might do some extra practice with some reading. And I'm sure we'll finish A at some point before. So he's going to need A and B. And depending how fast he moves, he could get into C. We'll see how that works. Handwork, I'm not really sure with him. So I did get him, for Christmas, he got a knitting fork or tower. I can't remember, one or the other. And I got him some black yarn, but he hasn't really done it. So I might have him do like knit. I'm just going to make a note, knitting fork. Oh, my daughter also has embroidery projects. So let me just say, I forgot to add that before, but I might make a note, learn to knit. Like actually knit. I have extra knitting needles, so do that. And then holiday presents. Okay, so for music, I started my daughter on piano lessons when she was in first grade, and that's my intention with my son as well. Not necessarily piano. He has expressed interest in the French horn and the piccolo, which I think is just a tiny flute, so he would take flute lessons. But I'm not sure if either of those lessons, I'm not sure if you could start on those at 6. So I'm going to be doing research into that. And in the meantime, I think I'm going to have him continue doing preschool prodigies. Well, they've also got higher levels too, but that's what I always think of it as. So I'm going to have him do that, and I'm going to try to be more consistent with him on it as well. And I keep kind of debating in my head whether I want to start him on music lessons for his kindergarten year. So we'll have to see. Well, I'm pondering. And then again, with the Practical Life life skills binder, I will see what we need to work on there. I think for sure picking up his room is a big one. And emotions, like, how do we deal with big emotions? How do we handle big emotions? It's a tough one. It's a tough one for all age groups, right? Especially right now. I know we're all feeling that a little bit. All right, so that's my kindergartner. And these are the individual subjects. Cool. Okay. I've got one more child. I've got another one I'm going to add in here. And that is G, the baby. And she is a baby toddler. So if you remember, I'm thinking about starting the school year in July, and she's going to turn 1 in June. And here's what I noted for her subjects. So I'm kind of thinking for her being for 1 to 2 years. And that's a really big difference between a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old. So I think what I'm going to do is break this down for every couple months and what I'm thinking. Okay, for language, we're always going to be doing songs, like baby songs. Oh, and finger plays. I'm just going to know those are included in songs. Oh, I do like the treasure baskets for this age here. That's kind of under sensorial. And they really like to transfer things. So transfer. I'm honestly, I don't think I'm going to plan a whole lot for this time period, July through September. Let's get outside a lot. Okay. And I'm hoping to create her so I can put her down when I'm working in the garden, like a safe play zone. It'll have to be kind of gated off, but it is what it is. So here that we'll do more transfer. Sorting activities are good. Yeah, I don't really want to start the sound game that young, so it's mainly going to be just like songs, books. Always songs and books. There. Although at 24 months, I might start going through, let me get it over here, 24 months. I like to go through some of the sound objects, as long as she's not sticking them in her mouth, and some classified cards. But again, she won't be there until, this is going to be her 1 to 2-year-old year. So, a family book is a great idea for a Christmas present for her. Family book. That would be really good timing for that. Just general sensorial play. I am honestly not really big into, I've already pulled out the shape puzzles a little bit, but we'll make a note of those too. Puzzles are also just good for pinch or grasp. I'm not really big into making specific sensory bins for children. I prefer to use just the natural environment. Like I stick her out in the grass and she touches the grass, and I might set up like a tub with water. But yeah, I'm just not big into making specific sensory bins, I guess. Also, like if I'm making something, like we can do some baking with mommy, probably starting around that age. She loves to watch me cook right now. And so getting her involved in that once she's a little bit older would be good enough. She's got to gain some fine motor skills and be able to stand better first. I'm going to keep looking over these. I've already pulled out some of our early Montessori activities. She has an Imbecure box out, which is where you stick a ball in the hole with like you can't see it when it first comes in and then it rolls out. So like it's object permanence. I guess it's another name for object permanence box. And she's got a ring stacker and some other things. And I've seen her start to put objects in their boxes. So that's kind of exciting. Like 18 months, we might be able to start early. I'll just make a note, other early practical life. To be honest, it's been a while and I don't fully remember at what age we did everything. So I know I probably did it earlier with my oldest than I need to, because she was my first and I was excited. So I will come back and choose specific songs and stuff later. I think this is a really, really good start for where I am. I have some thinking to do. I feel like it's good to let things percolate sometimes and sleep on them. So I'm going to do that on some of these topics. I believe the next step is to really drill down into some of the resources. And at this point, I like to start making myself kind of a master list of all the things I need to do for each subject. Some of these I've already, I just need to buy a curriculum for, which is splendid, and make sure I have all the materials I need. And so I will look into that. And I also like to look into when they might be having sales. Unfortunately, I think I just missed a Pandia Press one, but I wasn't quite ready to buy it yet. So it is what it is. And then there's some subjects, history most notably, needs a lot more work. So I'm tired and I'm not making as much sense anymore, but hopefully this was helpful to you, showing kind of how my messy brain works. I tried to keep it somewhat organized. Please like this video, especially if you've gotten this far. Please hit that thumbs up button. Please comment below any comments, any questions. I love to get them. And subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in my next video. Talk to you later.